In this video, you'll learn equity dilution, why it happens in startups, and why understanding it is important for founders to protect their ownership while growing the business. Equity dilution is simply the result of supply and demand. A startup founder begins the entrepreneurial journey owning 100% of the company or a split if there are co-founders. To grow the business, founders often sell a part of the ownership called equity to investors for money. They may also give equity to early employees as part of their pay. Equity dilution happens when new shares are created and given to new people or groups. Think of equity like pizza. The pizza is the company and shares are slices. There's only so much pizza and everyone gets a percentage. When more people join and get slices, existing slices might get smaller, even if the pizza grows big over time. The value of your equity depends on how many shares you own compared to the total shares and the company's overall value, which can change. Building a startup is hard, and founders often worry about losing too much ownership. Equity dilution isn't always bad, it's normal for growth, but it's smart to understand it from day one until you sell or exit the business. You don't want to end up owning less than 5% after years of work with little reward. That happens more than you think. How equity dilution works in a startup. You'll learn how dilution mainly happens during fundraising, what gets negotiated in deals, and the goal of growing the company's value to make up for the lost ownership percentage. In a startup, the biggest dilution occurs when founders raise money from investors. After agreeing on terms, new shares are given to investors in exchange for cash to grow the business. Many things can be discussed in these deals: how much money to raise, the company's value, and what percentage investors get. Other terms might include investors' seats on the board, special notes that convert to shares later, or preferences in payouts. The amount of dilution depends on the shares you keep, total shares in the company, and the valuation. The aim is to make the company so valuable that even a smaller percentage is worth more money overall. In this example section, you'll learn through a simple step-by-step scenario how dilution works in a seed funding round, including how valuation affects ownership. Let's say founders are raising early money. They start with 100 shares. Before raising money, which is pre-money, they think the company is worth 40 lakhs. So each share is this. They want to keep 80% ownership and set aside 20% for their employees. They need to raise 10 lakh, which they plan to sell as 20% ownership. But valuations are subjective early on. Founders base it on research and plans, but investors might disagree. Let's say they agree on 40 lakh valuation with 10 lakh investment. We'll look at pre-money and post-money views. In this scenario, you'll learn how pre-money valuation calculates shares before adding the new money. The pre-money valuation is 40 lakh with 10 lakh investment. Price per share is 40,000. Investors get new shares. Founders add 80%, dilution drops to 64%. Investors own 20%, employees 16%. In this scenario, you'll learn how post-money valuation includes the new money in the total value right away. Let's say the post-money is 40 lakh, including 10 lakh investment, then pre-money is 30 lakh, price per share 30,000. Founders add 80%, dilution drops to 60%. Employees will now have 15 and investors will have 25. This shows how higher valuation reduces dilution and new shares increases supply, lowering percentages. The key is growing the company value to make your smaller slice worth more.